Incredible finish, a classic, and the Lions clinch. They are the beacon of hope for all downtrodden NFL fan bases. Bears, I'm looking at you. They're in your division. They're undefeated in the frickin' division. There were some funny calls that didn't work out and then some funny calls that did, and that's just the name of the game if you're aggressive like Dan Campbell, front runner for the Coach of the Year. We have the perfect guest to talk this all over. Hall of Famer Calvin Johnson will be here. He was in the building last night. We'll get his perspective. Was he the one that was yelling at Matt LaFleur? Probably. We'll also be joined by the NFL's second leading tackler, Colts safety Nick Cross is on the program. Is Indy about to go on a run? We'll get into it with him. And we have Rob Maaddi. He is back, and he's so great at making picks. He'll make his for the rest of Week 14. What an incredible slate. We'll get to it. And a little debate on Offensive Player of the Year. Why not? With a walk-off win last night, and it was so special. I loved seeing Dan Campbell's locker room post-game antics because I liked that he said, I told you you weren't going to forget this game ever. And how could you, after so many, as a Lions fan I'm talking, how could you, after so many bad years and so many we can't get to the playoffs, look at this. Let's just revel in it. Lions clinch playoff.
That's the way to show up. You talk about pressure, we live in pressure. That's where we freaking thrive. You did it again. All right? It doesn't matter who's playing for us. It doesn't matter what's going on. You always find a way to win. This has been in the making, man. This has been in the making. All right? We were all supposed to be here together, man. We're destined for this. Just stay the course.
It's hard not to love him. I know some people don't. People have a problem with maybe how he approaches the game recklessly or whatever. We'll get into that. I love this, and I'm looking at the guys in the back. They just believe in themselves like no other team right now in the NFL. And why wouldn't you last night after this incredible turnaround? You're with your home crowd. You're getting to the coach on the other side. LaFleur's dropping F-bombs. Like, the building is loud. You're doing it going into the game with defensive pieces that haven't got much playing time. What is this going to look like against Jordan Love? Will they be able to pressure him? And then they keep losing players, and they're still getting it done. Luke Kuechly on our show talking about this 1-2 punch between Gibbs and Montgomery and how difficult it is to attack and plan for. Everybody did their thing. I loved Al and Kirk were a pleasure to listen to last night on Prime too. Just even pointing out things that never get pointed out. Like, look at him on Raw. He's not barking for the ball. He's not that kind of stuff. When that stuff happens, we usually don't give the Amon-Ra's, the Justin Jeffersons the love. I love that we saw that last night. The big story, and we'll get to Calvin Johnson's on the show. So excited about that. So glad to share space with the Hall of Famer, one of our closest friends here on the show. And the first thing I'm going to ask him, I was saying to Chris Schwartz, our producer, I said, start with the big storyline, and that's Dan Campbell's aggressiveness once again. It is his identity. It is who he is. I respect it. Lions finished 4 for 5 on 4th down. 2 Jared Goff touchdown passes. Sorry, Gronk. And David Montgomery runs to set up the game-winning walk-off field goal to ensure Jordan Love will not get the ball with 45-ish or whatever it was left. We know that these aggressive calls are I don't know that it's his nature, but it's a discipline. It's hard to stick to something, to say, sort of have that baked into, I know we're going for it. I believe in us so much. The people who matter are going to forgive him for the bad calls, okay? That team, that's what matters, right? They're going to say, we know we're going to go for it. If it doesn't work out, we've got you. We've got the next one back. As someone who likes the roulette game, I know I'm going to lose sometimes, but I'm going to bet big and keep putting it on black. That's what I do every time. Every time I put it on black. And I appreciate that he does that. And he does it knowing it's not going to work out all the time, but knowing it doesn't matter. We're still banged up as we are. Million dudes on IR. I still believe in you. The aggressive calls, they were the big story, the big factor last night. Is it going to make the season? Maybe. Is it going to break the season? Maybe. I kind of trust him, though. I'm beyond that. You have to hope if you're a Lions fan, the red doesn't start showing up. You keep hitting on black. And everyone, rightfully so, if you're a Lions fan, you're like, NFC title game last year. Okay, that wasn't great. The one they missed on their own 30 last year. might turn the tides, the one that they missed a couple in this game. Some of the decisions weren't maybe the right one. They didn't pan out. I loved it. And they overcame it. Like, how much confidence do you need? They can take on anybody any day of the week. They've swept the Packers. They're undefeated in the division. They've got the Bills coming up. I love this for them. Goodbye, Bills. I don't know. That is the game of the year now. Every week it's a game of the year involving one of those teams, and maybe including the Eagles. I like the guts. I like that he is who he is. He's sticking with it. He has not changed since his introductory press conference. There's nothing I love more. He's also this tough guy that has this beautiful vulnerability to him that is perfect. He's a perfect coach for that team, and he has been every time that they've hit the field. Now, Ben Johnson, credit to him, making the right play calls. Jared Goff coming up huge. Walter Payton, Man of the Year during that stretch, finishing the game with 13 straight completions. They've got, 11 straight wins? This is unbelievable. If you are the Bears, if you are the Jaguars, if you are the Bengals even, just like it takes one thing to get right. And look how quickly they turn this around. Dan Campbell, the heavy favorite for Coach of the Year at -200. Jets fans, just get it right. If you get it right, you get a little lucky, you'll have this. Coaches of teams that were in the conference championship game the previous year don't usually get the Coach of the Year love. Dan Campbell's ability to elevate this team has been completely undeniable. We have Calvin Johnson on the show. He'll talk to us. And what's the lesson for the Packers? A lot of officiating talk. You know things are bad when the officiating talk is what everybody wants to talk about, which is, it's not really how the Packers fan base usually does business. It seems like the low-hanging fruit. I have empathy. I like the Packers. It takes them out of contention, though, let's just be honest, for the division, right? Does it change a ton that they lost this game? If the Lions were loaded and fully healthy, it kind of sucks that you lost to a team where a lot of the stuff outside of Jair being out of there and it being, a lot of the stuff was in your direction. A lot of the stuff was tipped in your favor. I think they get the wild card, likely to get it, and it's disappointing, but the positives I would take away are this. The Packers leaned on the run early. Jordan Love did come alive in the second half. Defense was all over him. He was a bit uncomfy, but he went 12 of 16 for 175 yards, leading Green Bay to 24 points. I needed to see that. The throw to Watson, you just saw, game-tying drive, bang. Well, that's a perfect throw. That's a great, I can hang my hat. I can be okay on that throw, okay? To avoid the rush, to reset, to put that ball in the right spot, it doesn't get any better. The defense couldn't get the stop they needed at the end. Do things change when Jair gets back in the lineup? I hope. I think it, very not great that he was not out there. Does this change my faith in the Packers? It's such a good question as I ask myself that in my head right now. The Lions are just so much better. That's it. They're so much better of a team and the momentum, and I think they beat the Packers 8 times out of 10. They're just a better team. The Lions can play with anybody, and I will trust them. The Packers have some work to do. They do hopefully have that opportunity. 99% chance to make it into the playoffs, even with the loss. Great chance they end up staying in the 6th seed. That means we could see these two meet. And who's not here for that? Let's go. I'm sure Calvin Johnson will be excited about that. These two squads squaring up in January. It feels destined to happen. I would like a part 3. I'm certainly rooting for it. Let's take a look at the Week 14 slate. A bunch of other matchups. So as we take a peek here, early window, Steelers 6.5-point faves over the Browns. Mike Tomlin making that Coach of the Year bid, trying to make it interesting against Dan Campbell. Pittsburgh, if they win this game, it is a 2-game lead over the Ravens atop the AFC North. Just 4 games left to play, getting tight there. Late window, bunch of good ones, including the Bills-Rams. Buffalo's a 3.5-point favorite on the road as they try to catch Kansas City for the #1 seed, and this could be the Rams' season. If they lose this one, their chances of getting into the playoffs drop to just 16%. Chargers, Chiefs on Sunday night. This Ladd McConkey thing is a huge bummer for me. Who's going to step up, though? Who is going to get the opportunity? 3.5-point faves, and they have not lost at home since Christmas. Now, let's dig deeper into these games. Roll that animation for Hunch Time featuring special guest cameo super producer Conrad Company. Hi.
We are so back.
We are so
We are so back. You know, like one of those things where like your favorite television show, they kill someone off in season 1, but you're like, I have a hunch. They're still out there somewhere.
I just love you. I just love seeing
We're
your
back.
face. We're so back. Okay, give me some. Well, first of all, and this is going to be upsetting to Richard. I just want to know, what did you think of the game last night? Did you watch Lions?
I watch every single game.
Okay, tell me. Well, he was basketball.
No, it's phenomenal.
Yeah,
like what Dan Campbell is doing in Detroit completely rejuvenized the entire place. But like, how do you not watch that press game like post conference and be like, I want to run through a wall.
I know.
And give him the game ball to the kicker, and he's just like, hey guys, thank you.
You've got to come.
It's the best.
He's wrapping us. We just want to chit chat.
Yeah, let's have some fun,
little
Rich.
talk. Okay,
All right.
I have not seen these. You have been handed the official hunches of the week. Go for it.
All right, first up, Bills at Rams. Talk a little Josh Allen.
Okay.
Player prop for passing.
Bills Rams is a good game. Good little game.
Great game.
Good little game.
242.5. Is he going over or under?
Allen?
In a dome?
Allen in a dome. I don't even want him in a dome. I'm going to say over here because Keon Coleman will be back for this. And we were missing the rookie, the guy who like stole everyone's hearts in the offseason. I like the young Rams defense. Jared Verse, we had Braden Fisk. We had him like a day before he was announced to be player of the month. I loved seeing that. No one can stop Josh. Kuechly tried to explain it yesterday using like all sorts of terms I've never heard of and like schemey stuff. I'm not buying it. He's unstoppable.
He's a wild card. You can't. I mean, like,
Can't
come
do
on.
it. Can't do it.
Can't do it. Won't do it.
Keon Coleman though, play him in fantasy.
Love it. Next up, Browns and Steelers. One of my favorite guys in the league, Jameis Winston. Passing yards.
Of course, he's one of
set
your
at
favorite guys in the league.
254. He's the best. 254.5.
Hot take, he's the best. Jameis Winston it's fun to watch. It's must-see TV.
You know what he has?
What?
He got that dog in him.
God.
You just love
Should we
it.
cut your hair?
You want to do it? Let's do it.
You know what's so funny is that we were trying to remember while you were doing Run It Back, which precedes the show, which you guys should all watch. He's the intrepid super producer, brilliant
Please
mind
do.
behind that. When my parents were here with my boyfriend taking shots of wild turkey over there.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Why were we taking shots of wild turkey?
I believe is because
It was not Thanksgiving.
it was a soccer tournament, and Poland was playing in it.
It was
World Cup. Yeah, it was a World Cup at the time. Yeah.
This
all right.
is why we need Conrad.
There it is.
Mystery is solved. So what's the next question? Jameis Winston, 254
254.5, over under.
I was going to go under, but you've convinced me that Jameis is must-see TV. He's a great player. The Steelers' defense is freaky good, lots of superstars and all of that. But I looked at the weather, okay? 46 and sunny in Pittsburgh. So Jameis is going to keep this hot streak going, even though he says he likes snow games, and he looked like a little elf out there doing his thing, happiest little clam.
Did we see what he did? Denver's really good defense?
Yeah.
I mean, like, I got off the plane, I was like, I wonder how Jameis is doing. He had like over 350 yards already, and it was like the third quarter.
Yeah, he'll put up the yards. I agree.
And what Joe Burrow did last week. Come on. All right,
what's the last
one. Chargers and Chiefs, little Sunday night football.
Oh!
All right, first touchdown score.
Okay, this is a tough one. Let's look at
Let's
the
see
list.
the full screen
here. We are so back. I'm going to take a swing, and I'm going to say Gus the Bus. This is so random, but he's going to score the first touchdown. This is an easy, fun bet. I don't have the attention span to like figure, sweat this out the whole time. So I love a first touchdown. If you guys are on FanDuel Sportsbook, LA has scored the first touchdown in 4 of their last 6. Gus Edwards gets it done at the goal line to get him on the board early. You pick one. Who do you got?
You know what? I'm going someone off the board, and I don't know their odds off the top of my head. Noah Gray.
Oh, you're going to go with a little Noah Gray.
This dude's just been scoring touchdowns all over the place.
Yeah, I don't think he scored one last week, but he has the trust of Patrick.
Everyone's looking at good old Kelsey while he's
he'll
just
be
getting
hanging
right
out with
down
Derwin James.
Yeah,
They're going to be hanging out. So
love to
actually,
see
you know
it.
what? Clip that off because you're going to end up being right. Noah Gray will score. I don't know if he'll score the first touchdown of the game, but he will score a touchdown. So to recap, I'm going to go with Josh Allen over 242.5 passing yards against the Rams. What else, Conrad?
Mr. Jameis Winston over 254.5.
And Gus Edwards to get into the end zone first against the Chiefs. Those are mine. He picked Noah Gray. I like those as well. We're going to take a short break. Will you stay with me through the break?
Yeah.
Okay, we got Nick Cross on. Great, Indy, amazing safety.
He's fantastic. Colts.
Yeah.
He's the best.
Oh, the Colts. Let's
Yeah.
do our Colts time together. Oh, Nick Cross is on the show after this. There he is. Oh, he's in Jumanji. I love this. Love this for you.
What a backdrop.
And what a backdrop. Love that.
No, honestly, Nick Cross, big fantasy guy. I played him the first 9 weeks of the year. This dude is putting up double-digit tackles. Yeah. But I mean, like, as a safety.
IDP?
Yeah, no, but I mean, like, legitimately,
sick pup?
this dude is a hard hitter. I really didn't know much about his game. I started watching Colts games just to watch Cross play some defense.
You and I once went to Indy together.
We did.
We reminisced on it
We did.
before.
It was one of the coolest experiences of my entire life. Like, I think we had known each other for, what, 2 weeks at that time?
Yeah.
And then next thing I know, we're hopping on a private jet going to Indianapolis. Just what a time to be alive.
It was fun. I mean, how many private jets have you been since then with Chandler Parsons?
You know what?
You've not
I am
taken-
about to drive him to a golf tournament after this. And I mean, like,
I've
yeah,
never
no,
asked you to drive me anywhere.
no private jets. If anything, you've offered me to drive.
That's fair. Yeah, what, Chandler, get a grip. You're driving.
He is the best.
Are you golfing with him?
No, of course not.
So you're like dropping him off at Bel Air or something and walking
Dropping him
away?
up in Burbank. The guy knows everyone, plays in every golf tournament possible. I mean, like, he's living the life of 1,000
He
kings.
pretends to have things in common with people who can get him on the best golf courses. That's my thing. He can talk to anyone, like, but it's.
I don't think I've met anyone more personable in my entire life.
he's the
Like,
best.
you put him in any
He
room.
truly is the best.
Like,
I love him.
we went to dinner in New York a couple weeks ago.
Yeah,
A billionaire walked up and was like, "Hey,
that's fine.
Chandler Parsons isn't great." Like, literally just said it walking by, and Chandler was
That's
like, "Hey, buddy."
No private jets though. Heard? See that, Chandler? No private jets. I treat my boy right. We got you some. What kind of tacos did you get? They whipped you up some. What
Remember,
was it?
do you remember the original?
No, what was it?
The fact that we ordered Taco Bell before trying to get on a private jet.
I think I ordered Erewhon. Oh, we did.
No, we did.
I ordered like $80 of Taco Bell, and it didn't make it to the hangar.
No, it was true because I remember looking at you and you're like, "Do you like Taco Bell?" And I was like, "Do I like Taco Bell?"
Why does Taco Bell keep haunting me?
No, but it was one of those things where I was like, "Did we just become best friends?"
Yeah.
And you were like, "Yeah, I'm gonna order us $80 worth." Yeah. And then we had to give it to the sweet staff that was there because we're like, "We got to actually catch this plane."
Yeah.
We're having.
This is a relatable conversation.
It is. It's so
Everyone
relatable.
goes through this. Oh, gosh. I'm trying to think of what else I want to talk to you about.
I mean, how amazing the show is doing.
I love you. Thank you so much for saying that.
I mean, are you serious though? This is fantastic. You got Nick Cross coming up. Like this. Like what a time to be alive.
Megatron's on too. Calvin Johnson.
You gotta. Act like I don't know who Megatron is. The king of Detroit himself.
Why is your skin so glistening? You look
I
so
don't know.
handsome these days.
No, I always glisten on TV. I don't get the makeup
it's like
either.
you're in love. On the next episode of Conrad and Kay, we'll talk about Conrad's love life. Love you.
Appreciate
Thank
you.
Bye.
Feel the rest of
Bye.
it.
Bye. Bye. I hope he tips you. Does he Venmo you for driving in places, Chandler? Lou would never.
Lou would.
Lou would? I love that Lou. We gotta get.
That pass is intercepted. Ripped by Nick Cross. That's just a heck of a hustle play.
Nick Cross was the guy that makes this play happen.
Very excited to chat with a true breakout star this season. He currently ranks second in the NFL with 125 tackles. Are you sore just 24/7, Nick Cross? Like, you can't feel good. Ice tub?
Ice tub, whatever I need to do to get out there on Sundays. I have a great team around me, massage people and everything just to make sure to take care of the body so I can go out there and play on Sundays.
I love it. Before we get into the NFL stuff, I want to ask you something. You were a proud Maryland guy. Let's go Terrapins. I hear you spent your bye week going to a UNC game? Make that make sense to me.
I was supposed to go with one of my teammates. We went down there. He's from there, Taquan. Was like, hey, you want to go to this game? And I was like, shoot, I ain't got nothing else to do. So I was like, I might as well hop on the plane, go down there. Our player personnel guy, DT's a UNC guy as well. So me and him have our back and forth bands. As you know, Maryland used to be in the ACC, and they used to do some numbers on them Tar Heels. So we go back and forth a little bit. But it was a good environment. Unfortunately, they weren't able to get out there with the dub, but it was still a good environment overall.
The picture is frozen a little bit, but we still see you, we still hear you, so let's keep this rolling here. I'm glad you had fun. I don't know if you put your hat on low so nobody would recognize you there. I hope you weren't cheering for him too hard. I didn't see any footage of that, but I want to get into Anthony Richardson, okay? The 2-point conversion was the talk of the world with the win over the Patriots on Sunday. Such a fun game, but it doesn't happen, Cross, without the play you made to get him the ball back, and it's not getting talked about enough. Walk me through that third down, please.
I was just doing my job. I had my coverage, and, the quarterback started scrambling, and, I was like, hey, it's just me and him. Fortunately, he was able to take a slide, and I was able to just tag him down, get the sack, and, get us off the field so that Anthony could go out there and do his thing. So it was good to be able to do that. And, shout out to Anthony and the rest of the offense for going out there and putting together a clutch drive to go out there and win the game for us.
It was a really, really fun one to watch. And you guys are so alive because of it. And those little plays need to get more love. I'm glad that you're here so we can talk about it. And Drake May, by the way, Drake May wanted none of that. Drake May wanted no part of that. Did you play the saxophone growing up?
I wonder who told you that, but yeah, I started playing when I was in 4th grade. My parents were big in making sure I was a well-rounded individual. I wanted to play the drums, but they were like, they didn't want me beating and making a whole bunch of noise in the house. So started playing the saxophone, played until I was, senior in high school, and just one of those things that, I was pretty decent at. So
when's the last time you played?
Last time I played was probably before my senior year of high school. But I'm sure if I picked it up again, I could, play a couple good tunes. So.
We got to bring that back. You and Jim Irsay, he's got all those guitars. You need to be in the Irsay band.
I was never sent an invite, so I mean, I don't know, but I'm sure if they asked me to, I'd be happy to join.
We got to work on that. Well, in honor of that being your first career sack last week against the Patriots, my producers made you a little saxophone highlight package. Let's see this. Oh gosh. Sounding. That was real, like this. Okay.
Sounded like me when I was playing.
Yeah, exactly. I want to see you pick it up. Okay, I mentioned that you're second in the NFL in tackles. Congratulations. Your teammate, Zaire Franklin, he's your competition, though. Then you got EJ right behind you. EJ Speed is 4th. Tell me about the competitive spirit and how you're keeping tabs of that in the building.
Zaire come up to me sometimes like, hey, I see you coming out, boy. And I was like, hey, man, hey, at the end of the day, we both going to go out there and compete. And, I have EJ, another, great player. All three of us go out there. We take pride in being able to tackle well and stop the run. And, it's always good to have that competition, that friendly competition in the room, to be able to go out there and see who can go out there and perform at the highest level, get the most amount. And, it's just for a little bragging rights. But, ultimately, it's just for us to help the team and put ourselves in position to win games.
It's a perfect answer. If we forget just, the league lead for a second, because that's what you're in competition with your own teammates. Did you know that with 4 games to play, you have 48 tackles to catch up with Hall of Famer Steve Atwater for the most ever by a safety, Nick?
I actually didn't know that. Not really a huge stat guy. I didn't really know any of that stuff, but that is good. That's good company to be in, good company to be around. I know Steve Atwater is one of the best to ever play the game, so, to be mentioned in a conversation like that is truly honoring.
Even if he does, the note here from my producer, if you don't catch Atwater, even if you don't, you're on track to become the first safety with 150-plus tackles since Pat Tillman in 2000. Okay,
that's crazy.
You focus on the saxophone.
That's crazy.
I'll focus on the stats. That is so impressive. It is crazy, and I can't wait to see you do it. Who's the guy that you grew up watching that you're like, I want to tackle like this guy?
I would say, Sean Taylor, Brian Dawkins, Colts great Bob Sanders. Those are guys who I grew up watching. Actually, Brian came to talk to us during training camp, and DT had told me, he's like, hey, there's somebody in the weight I as soon as I walked past, I was scooting, so I had my little scooter.
Yeah.
But I brought to a halt the store, and it was like a kid in the candy store, and was able to go up there and talk to him. We exchanged information and everything. So it's always good to see somebody who played at a high level, and they came and talked, and he came and spoke to us, and I was grinning from ear to ear throughout the entire conversation. So it was good to have that, and to see somebody who did what you're trying to do come in and talk to you and talk to the team was truly an amazing experience.
Okay, we can hear you. We can't quite see you, but appreciate you bearing with us. I don't know if we're going to keep this going or go off of it. I do want to say, like, Gus Bradley, we're talking about these guys you looked up to in this company that you're in. I mean, he's coached the Earl Thomases. He's coached Chancellor, Derwin James. How much does that come up? Do you ask him questions? Does that come up at all?
Not really. I mean, occasionally, when we watch our tape and everything, our coaches will put up, some teach tapes of, whether it's Earl or Cam or Derwin doing, a good job of what they were doing. But, I feel like they do a good job of, working with the players they have in the room, and going out there and just, showing us the blueprint so we can go out there and make plays. But, to have somebody who's coached, players who played at a high level at my position is great to have that as well.
I think what I love about Indy, and the reason I know you heard us in the break, me and my producer, like 2 years ago when I met him, we went to Indy to help with Kicking the Stigma. I was invited by the Ursays to help host. So they've raised so much money, a lot of their own money. It's something that's so important as a cause. There's a lot of causes that are really beautifully repped by Indy. For My Cause, My Cleats, you repped Kicking the Stigma. And I've heard you've done a lot of things. I'm close to that. I'm close to Indy. Why is it so important to you?
I would say just, knowing that, everybody's going through something. Everybody has things that they go through in their everyday life. And it's just one of those things where, it's okay to, voice those things. It's okay to be able to, say, hey, I'm not feeling well. I'm not, doing so great. And, we as a community should be able to go and help uplift those people who, might be going through something or might be, at a certain point not doing their best. So it's definitely good to bring that awareness to know that, hey, like, no matter who you are, big, small, it doesn't matter. It's okay for you to, express how you feel and express, that you might not be doing so well and, at a certain stage in life, and that, people will be there to support you.
It's really, really well said. Mental toughness, I feel like was never talked about, not even adversity, just like the mental part of the game. There's the physical, it's so important. And it makes me think just about like what you guys have dealt with just adversity, right? Losses, wins, taking Anthony Richardson off the field, getting him back on. Tell me about your quarterback. I look at what's gone on lately. You've won 2 of your 3 games since he's back in there. Is there a difference? Is there something that you're noticing about Anthony that you want to give love to?
Shout out my guy, Ant. He's a great guy. Ever since he's come in there, he's put his head down and worked. But, especially over the last couple of weeks, just seeing a different level of consistency of discipline, preparation, and just a fierce competitiveness. I see him run the ball, I see him throw the ball, and, the fire that he runs with, the passion that he plays with. I'm sitting there on the sideline just, cheering like I said, like a kid in a candy store, watching him, run over defenders, get into the end zone, spike the ball, do his Fortnite dance, whatever he can do in the end zone.
Yeah.
It's always good to be able to sit there and see that. We'll sit there and, we'll check in with each other, on the sideline, and just make sure to just stay the course. That's my big thing to him. Just, continue to stay the course, trust the process. You're going to have ups, you're going to have downs, but as long as you keep trusting the process, you'll be good. So, he has a bright future. I love, he's our quarterback and love playing with him. And, at the end of the day, he's the one I go out there and go to war for.
He can't be fun to tackle, huh?
I've never actually had to tackle him, so I wouldn't know. But from what I see out there on the field, I can't imagine he's very, fun to tackle.
I can't imagine it either. You guys have what are you doing? You have a bye this week, yeah?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Oh, yeah, you're not on here. What are you doing for your bye?
I'm chilling. I came home. Obviously, I went to the UNC game, but I came home. Just did some things to take care of my body. Went to go see some friends, some family. Caught up on some sleep. Saw the fam and everything. So just a chill bye week, nothing crazy.
I love it. You got a big one on the other side of that. So get your rest. And I want to say, I just looked. You're 4th among safeties in Pro Bowl voting. Like, let's get our stuff together, world. Like, you gotta get into that Pro Bowl. Please go vote for our friend Nick Cross coming to a playoff near you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Amazing. We'll take a break here. We will be back with Calvin Johnson. Megatron is on the show. We'll make picks with Rob Maaddi as well. Don't go anywhere. Woo-hoo. Okay, so you've got K-Makers and Calvin Johnson. Oh, yeah. So I saw, last night, of course, we're going to, guys, talk to Calvin Johnson, which is like such an honor, still pinch me every time. He was at the game last night, and I noticed, I mean, there's a lot going on, lots to unpack with this, the aggressive nature of Dan Campbell, them winning, them clinching, what it means for the Packers, and so on. But this was truly, and respectfully, like, what are we going to get defense out of here with so many guys on IR, and then guys are getting banged up in the game. I don't know that it is a choice or they just alternate. I think every team can do it differently. But I used to be the gal at the Edward Jones Dome with the Rams that would stand in the tunnel and let the players, cue them, and I had the headset, and Chris Long and, Cortland Finnegan, all these guys letting them run out, Steven Jackson. Imagine me, my little self, like holding him and restraining him and then letting him out. It mattered so much. I always pay attention to the coming out of the tunnel. And I loved that the defense, if you can see, the defense ran out of the tunnel last night. And it was sort of what I'm inferring, Dan Campbell and company saying, okay, let's get these guys revved up. I just gave them a hell of a speech in the locker room, I'm sure. And I want to introduce, Quan Alexander. When's the last time we saw Quan Alexander? This was a 2017 Pro Bowl squad lineup going out there and doing their thing. I loved seeing it. It meant a lot, I think, to these guys as well to say, like, oh, let's get the defense out there and do that. I thought these are these sort of little things that add up and matter, and I think it had a lot to do with it, and it says a lot about the coach and how all of those things go. Because you look at some of these, I mean, I was looking at it before the show, but even like watching last night, these guys that are making plays, it's the Pat O'Connors, it's the Jamal Adams, like doing their thing, adding pressure and keeping it going. Like that kind of a move to say, sure, Walter Payton Man of the Year, Jared Goff, and we're going to let the defense, that Detroit fans meet your defense. We're going to talk about the vibes and the energy. And is there any place you don't want to play more in the NFC than that dome, Ford Field? I wouldn't want to play there if I was any of the playoff teams. I haven't gone to a game, but all I saw last night was Blub doing this. I can't effing hear anything, and I loved it every second. What's up? Yep. Okay, sounds good. I'd like to know if anybody knows if it's like the coach's decision to do that. And then Kirby flipping everybody off coming out the tunnel. How far they've come. All right, let's do it. A little 1-2 punch and knockout. These are the guys that I think will score touchdowns this week. I'm pretty good at this. I'm going to go with we have Calvin Johnson on. Let me just roll out some receivers here. First up, give me Justin Jefferson. Give him to me. He hasn't scored in 6 weeks, and he doesn't bitch about it. He doesn't bitch about it at all. I love him for that, but I think that changes against a Falcons defense. We all know they are not looking great. They've allowed the third most touchdowns to receivers. Kirk goes on the other side. They haven't talked. They don't know why. I don't care. He's going to score a touchdown. A.J. Brown against the Panthers. He's my next guy. These are kind of gimmies, but Saquon, Jalen, they can't score all the touchdowns. Okay, you got to let A.J. have one so he can be happy going into the playoffs. And finally, a little long shot-a-rooski for you, Marquez Valdez-Scantling. He has scored 4 touchdowns in the last 3 games. I told you last week, get him in your lineups. Big splash plays. He might not do it consistently, but he's at plus 310 right now. I will swing and love those odds.
6'5", Calvin Johnson. We're legendary. Calvin Johnson. Unbelievable. Touchdown. We're legendary. Megatron. Wow. Legendary.
My next guest is a 3-time All-Pro, 6-time Pro Bowler, Pro Football Hall of Famer, of course, who spent all 9 seasons of his incredible career with the Detroit Lions. Look how happy you are. Look how happy you are.
I'm watching LaFleur and the fan go at it. And that fan, he was channeling my man Branch's energy, and Coach wasn't feeling it.
Did you not see? They were at the game last night. You didn't see that until like right now when we showed you in the break?
I didn't. I heard about it last night, and I just got reminded of it, so I pulled it up real quick. And this is while I was on the field, so I didn't see this. No.
Do we have the footage of it at all? Oh, they're trying to get it. Yeah, it was I think a person. Yeah, here it is, and he's literally saying like, "Shut the f up." Why is this so funny?
I love it. This is Detroit. like I say, he's channeling my man Branch's energy, and Coach was not feeling it. He was not liking it. I love it, though. I love it for Detroit.
He got under his skin. He talked about it in the post game. They lost. And I also saw, I was talking about it in the break, Kirby Joseph. Like, who did something to Kirby Joseph coming out of the tunnel? What is going on in Detroit? You're saying this is Detroit. What is Detroit?
It's gritty. It's chippy. People. I mean, people have been talking down on us for so long. And now, Dan is here. The energy is right. The culture is right. And I don't know. It's just we're just keeping that chip on our shoulder. I know that. I love it because people talking down on us because we have so many guys down and so many guys injured. But like Dan says, next man up. We got guys that want to come to Detroit, like you said, like kind of in the last segment. People want to come to Detroit to play now. They want to come to Detroit to play for this team, to play for this head coach that has so many other coaches under him that played in this league with however many years of experience. It's
so true, and nobody's talking down to these Lions. And if you try, it's just not. I feel like this is the most confident team I've ever seen. This might be the most confident team I've ever seen. Truly. 100%.
Like I say, next man up mentality.
Yeah.
Guys want to come in. They don't want to let their fellow man down. And you see that at the locker room. You see it at practice. Obviously, you see it in the game time.
Dan Campbell is the story of the night. Obviously, the players do their thing, but it was, why are we smiling?
Dan be stressing me out. He was stressing me out. He's fourth down.
Talk to me. Are you okay with this? Take me through the process. You're there last night. Some calls worked, some didn't. These fourth downs are crazy.
For the most part, they work, and they do a good job at it. And the team, they perform when they have the opportunity to do it. Like this right here, right there on the goal line. I'm good with that. We're about to score. We're right there. I mean, we're in our suite, and everybody's like, hey, we should take the points. We should take the points. But we're like, man, there's sometimes where I'm like, yeah, let's take the points. There's sometimes I'm like, go for it. Sometimes I'm just stressed out. I'm just be stressed out in these games.
If you're a player, are you stressed out?
Well, you're a player. You like, let's go for it every time. You're like, we're going to get this. We're confident. This one right here, when Jared slipped, I'm like, oh my goodness. But I forget this isn't college, so he can touch the ground and they keep going. So it's all good.
Are they playing with fire, Calvin?
I mean, they are. They're on fire. They are on fire.
No, that's not what I mean.
Are they playing? I know.
Can you win a Super Bowl like this? Because the internet is like, you're going to lose this way.
I mean, we've won a lot this way though too. I mean, obviously there's some things that happened last year that were inopportune in timing and whatnot, but this is Dan, this is how we've got here, So like I say, I'm not the one in there. I'm not on the field. I'm not feeling the vibe at the exact time. I see it from afar. I'm going to leave it up to Dan to make those decisions. I'm not going to second guess.
There's so much that I'm impressed by with this win, and it just adds to the confidence, which I think matters so much, right? I'm like, they did this down so many guys, losing more guys, being talked down to. Big game, never easy to sweep a division opponent. You can't tell me otherwise. And then they do it also like playing 3 games in the last 11 days, like at this point in the season. Like that's something that I'm impressed by. What are you most impressed by with this team right now?
Like we spoke about earlier, how many guys are down? I don't know how many guys are on injury reserve, key players. But the fact is that he keeps bringing in guys. Obviously, like I heard you mention, we got like the 2017 Pro Bowl squad out here. We really do. But these guys, like I said, they want to be here. They want to play for this squad. And I mean, that's what you got to. That's what you got to have. You got to have the guys that have the want to. And we have guys that have the want to, and they're making plays. Guys you haven't heard of, they're making plays because they want to be on this squad. They want to make a name for themselves, but they want to be a part of something special.
Were you in the locker room after the game at all? Did you weasel in there? I would have.
No, I didn't go in the locker room. No, I didn't go in the locker room. But I can only imagine after these games, like what the energy is like in that locker room, because this is truly a team effort to be able to do this. And these guys have come together through thick and thin as a team. I mean, shoot, they had their bye week. We always get screwed with the bye week in Detroit. So these guys are like, to your point, they're playing 3 games in 11,
Crazy.
12 days. It's tough. You're going from week 5, and you're playing the rest of the season. You're going to have injuries. So it's just a matter of like hopefully getting these guys back here at the end because we have so much depth right now.
First round bye would be nice. Ford Field would be nice. You're mentioning just sort of the energy. Kirby Joseph with the middle fingers. Jordan Love doing this, trying to hear what's going on. You're smiling about it. LaFleur, them getting under LaFleur's skin before the game even starts, like some guy in a jersey over a hoodie. What is the home field advantage of Ford Field in 2024?
I think back to when I played here, it was, what year was it? We played Monday Night Football against the Bears. We started 5-0, and I think we had, at the time, it might have been a league record of they had 11 false starts. But nobody really knew how loud this stadium gets. I feel like Detroit is the loudest stadium I played in because it's not compact. I mean, is it 65,000 people in there? But it's in a tight setting, and it's so loud, and it's on top of you. So I think that's what makes it so loud, and that sound is reverberating off the sides, off the ceiling. And you cannot hear in there. And then, then they get to going with the song, We Will Rock You. Mm-hmm. And you leave out of that place with your ears ringing. I always forget to take my earplugs because that place gets so dang loud now. It's
Calvin,
amazing.
I can't have you wearing earplugs. I can't. I actually
I'm getting
can't
older, Kay. I can't,
no,
everything's starting to hurt. Even my
Put
ears
some
now.
Put some primitive in these bad boys and rub some on and keep going. Wow, you were in the best mood. You were in the best freaking mood.
No, everybody's in a great mood here in Detroit. Obviously when our sports teams are playing well, that kind of it permeates through the city.
Yeah.
So this city has been buzzing ever since year and a half ago. And it's not going to stop the way we're going right now.
What could stop the way you're going right now? Is it the gambly nature of some calls? What could stop this team?
Really ourselves turning the ball over. That's what's going to stop us. Any kind of turnovers. That's really what stops. When we shoot ourselves in the foot, that's the only thing that stops this team. So that and the injury. But obviously injury hasn't done so much. But I don't want to lose. I love my defense because obviously they say defense wins championships, but I don't know. There's certain key positions that you can't lose. Obviously, you can't lose. A couple of them receivers. We can't lose our quarterback. There's a couple key positions that we can't lose. Those guys that make plays all over the field. Laporte. He's been up and down, but he makes plays. So, like I say, it's always the next man up mentality, but we gotta, try to stop losing some of these guys. And you see, that's the part of the game. It's 100% injury game. So you just got to try to manage, especially this time of the year when you're playing so many games back to back.
When you were there, you weren't watching the broadcast, but I liked that Al Michaels and Kirk Herbstreit, who were on the call for Amazon, they said, because everybody got the ball. I'm looking at it right now. Jameson had 5. Laporta had 5, like you just said. Tim Patrick had those 2 touchdowns. He had 6. Amon-Ra had 5 for 43. And they said, what an amazing, selfless player. He's out there blocking his ass off. How impressed are you with Amon-Ra?
I love Amon-Ra because when you call his number, he's going to make a play. There's a certain situation. It might have been there's a couple third downs where we really needed it. I'm sitting here man, we got to get Amon-Ra the ball here. I know if we get him the ball, it's going to be a first down. And we did that on those plays. I ain't calling the plays, but my man makes plays when we need him the most, And he's like I say, he's an unselfish player. He sees what we have in front of him. And 100%, there's an opportunity right now to win a Super Bowl. So these guys are just trying to, team up, and do it by committee. Why
don't you go in the locker room after the game? Or do you try to keep your distance? What is your role? If I was at the game, I would literally be like, Calvin, you are my all access pass. I want to talk to coach. What is your role right now with this winning team?
No, I just try to be there when I can. I try to get to a couple practices throughout the year. I'm trying to get to a practice here this coming week.
Yes!
I try to get away. If I'm in town, I always make sure I try to go to the game. I like to get down there and just doing it, talk to the guys, and get them going. It's not me getting them going. I just like to, give them a little good energy before they go out there on the field and do their thing. Just tell them to be great.
Who asked you the most questions?
Probably Kirby. I talk to Kirby a lot. All of them do, though. I love talking to the DBs, man, the young DBs.
Why?
All of the DBs. Because, I'm a receiver, and my biggest thing with the DBs, I'm like, man, you guys just got to get your hands on the ball. You could really change the game around. I tell Kirby and Branch, I always tell them, you guys catch the ball like receivers. And they do. You see them out there getting their hands on balls, and that's going a long way for us this year, being able to turn the game around when we create turnovers.
So you're the reason he flicked off the crowd with both hands. He was like,
No,
I'm going to do it with one
that's-
hand. Calvin told me to do it with two. That's what I heard happen.
I didn't do. I think that's more on Branch, but I love the energy.
I love that you hang out with the DBs. I love I mean, they're undefeated in the division. There's like so much to be impressed with this squad. I was looking at the odds for Goff because we've been talking 15. I don't know why this happens. We talk and Goff does not get mentioned. Should he be the MVP? What does a win like last night do for his odds as you're seeing him right here?
Looking at these people on the screen here, I mean, knowing where Detroit's been and where Detroit's going to, and obviously I believe that award comes out before the end of the season. But I mean, if you ask people around Detroit what this guy means to Detroit, when you hear one player's name chanted, not obviously at home field, but when you go to every other stadium and you hear this man's name chanted, you know what he means to the city. And obviously he means everything, obviously, to Detroit. But, I mean, for him to be mentioned with the likes of all these players that are on the screen, it's really imperative for what he's done in his time here in Detroit.
It's really, really well said. We are so thankful that you're on the show. I'm going to talk to you through the break because it's live on YouTube. But everybody check out Primitive Performance. Of course, your line of wellness products. It's Primitive, no E, primitiveperformance.com. Put it in your ears before a game. Put it wherever. And I'm sure you're giving it to the players. I think Primitive Performance is the reason that they're doing so well.
Well, the only thing about that, the NFL, for some reason, hasn't sanctioned cannabinoids. So hopefully that's on their next CBA task to-do list. So that they can allow their players to start, using cannabinoids. And it doesn't have to be THC, the psychoactive part of it. CBD, CBG, CBN, CBC, those things are great anti-inflammatories. So, I mean, we're partnering with other professional sports leagues getting these products to the players. So if we can get them to our players and help them get back on the field faster, that'd be everything.
You are helping MLB players. I know that. You're like an official partner, right, with the Tigers?
Yep.
So the NFL is being the sticky one.
I mean, it's just part of it's a give and take, every 10 years when the collective bargaining agreement comes up, it's going to be part of the negotiations. And hopefully when it comes back around, the players are able to eradicate that part of those restrictions so that they can, heal the way that they need to heal naturally.
A couple more questions for you. You have your own day now? What?
Hey, Big Gresh dawned that upon me, and I'm truly appreciative. That was pretty awesome. It kind of coincided with me going into the Ring of Honor here in Detroit. So, what honor, obviously, that was, for that to happen to me with all the greats that we have in the Ring of Honor here in Detroit, and then in front of this great city at this time, that was special. So
this was Governor Whitmer declared September 30th as Megatron Day. I know it's not. Did you like that? I feel like you never want attention. I think that's like the worst thing to tell you. Like, we're going to have a whole day about you. Like, get real.
It's funny because the day before the 29th is my birthday. So I was like, I got 2 days now.
It's a lot of you. Well, I love it for you. You deserve it. What are the rules on Megatron Day? If you had one rule that everybody had to follow, what is it?
You got to take a shot of tequila for me.
Oh, okay. God.
There you go. We'll do it at.
I thought you were going to say get high, and I was like, let's go, Megatron.
I know everybody ain't going to smoke, but, I think that everybody wouldn't mind taking a shot for me. Get some good tequila, get you some Clase Azul Reposado. Let's take a shot around 9 o'clock. I
love that. Are we taking shots to Matthew Stafford? I don't know what to do with this team. They're 6-6. They are 6-6 in my head. What, Stafford? Talk to me. What are we buying them as a playoff team?
I don't know. I ain't been watching the Rams. I got love for Matthew. But I've been watching my Lions. I've been keeping track of the Eagles a little bit. I mean, we might have to see them at some point.
Yeah.
But I just need the road to come to Detroit. If the road comes to Detroit, this place is going to be tough to win there.
Well, you didn't even want to talk about the Rams and Stafford. I love this for you. Enjoy everything going on in Detroit and the Lions. A shot of tequila will be had sometime in the playoff. Don't ever find me at a Lions game because I will be so obnoxious and I will make you do all the things you don't want to do. I would be in that locker room, like screaming, "You're the best, Megatron." Everybody go check out Primitive. Thank you so much. You're literally the GOAT.
Always good to see you.
Always good to see you. Always smiley. Oh my gosh, he's the best. I think Calvin's my favorite guest that we've had on our show ever. Welcome back to Up and Adams, guys. DFU's favorite daily fantasy plays for Week 14. I can't help but put Will Levis into my lineup. He's in some commercial I saw the other day. Great. He's the second least expensive quarterback this week. He's quietly putting up some fantasy numbers. 7 touchdowns, just 2 picks. I'm not that worried about that, and that's over the last 4. It's a pretty good stretch. Jags secondary, need I say more? I would grab Drake London, too. There he is. I like this. He's seen 36 targets over the last 3. Vikings have allowed the second most points to wide receivers. And you can pay up a little for Trey McBride then, who's amazing. And also, I believe the Walter Payton Man of the Year. He does so much. I met him doing good at Super Bowl with Wounded Warrior Project. So big fan of him. And I like that price tag, $7,200. He has, the touchdowns aren't happening, but he does have the volume. 24 catches for 229 over the last 2 weeks. He had a 133-yard performance the last time he saw Seattle. There you have it, my DFS plays. We had Megatron. We had Nick Cross on the show. Unbelievable. And now we have senior NFL writer for the AP, master at predicting games. You can check out his Pro Picks column every week on apnews.com. Rob Maaddi, you are 135-71 for the season. Let's go. I want to get right into it. I want to start with the NFC West. First place Seahawks taking on the Cardinals and Trey McBride in Arizona. Cards 2.5-point faves. What do you think?
Hey, I just want to be as good as Megatron. He was phenomenal.
So
Cardinals they've lost 6 in a row to Seattle. This is meeting for the second time in 3 weeks. Kyler Murray's played well against the Seahawks at home. I think he's got a 102.9 passer rating the last 4 games against the Seahawks at home in Arizona. The NFC West is up for grabs, and I think the Cardinals find a way to win this game 24-20, win the game, cover the spread, tighten that race up a little bit to the point where even the Niners, for as banged up as they are, can still stay in it. I think the NFC West is going to come down to the final weekend of the season. I like the Cardinals this week to beat Seattle.
Do you have a score?
24-20.
24-20. I like that. Seahawks are
So they cover.
Yeah.
I got 2.5, right? You got 2.5?
2.5, yeah. They've won 6 consecutive against the Cardinals, those Seahawks. We'll see how they go. Okay, we've got another. Oh, I love a division rivalry. We kicked it off in Week 14 so well last night. Browns at Steelers. Pittsburgh favored by 6.5. Browns pulled off the upset a couple weeks ago. Can they do it again?
Okay, I don't know if it's going to snow in Pittsburgh, but I would love to see Jameis Winston play in the snow week in and week out. It's like the most enjoyable experience for a viewer is to see Jameis enjoying the snow. Snow aside, in this game, do you know the last time that the Browns swept the Steelers in a season series? I don't think you were alive.
Okay, when was it?
It was like 36 years ago,
no,
1980. Now, see, you weren't even around, and for that, they're not going to sweep them. They've won 1 time in Pittsburgh in the last 20 seasons, and that was a playoff game with Baker Mayfield. The Steelers are 5-1 with Russell Wilson. Everybody thought that the decision to go with Russ over Justin Fields, the people are criticizing Mike Tomlin. I loved it at the time. I love it even more now. I'm going to take the Steelers to win the game 26-17.
The Jameis magic runs out. It is 46 and sunny in Pittsburgh. And the Steelers have won 20 straight regular season games, like you're saying, against those Browns. Okay, Kirk Cousins, he's back. I love this. He's back in Minnesota. What does it mean? Minnesota's favored by 5.5. What do you think?
I got to pick an upset every week, and I was looking up and down the schedule, and this is the one, K. Kirk, everybody's beating up on him. 4 picks last week, 13 picks this season. He's going home to Minnesota, or what was home for him for several years. I think he finds a way. The Falcons have struggled. They've lost several games in a row right now. They're tied with the Buccaneers, but they control their own destiny. Meanwhile, the Vikings, they've won 5 in a row, but they're close. They're hanging on the edge. Closer games than the first 5-game winning streak that they had in this season. I like Atlanta behind Kirk Cousins, rally around him, going home 23-22. That is my upset pick of the week.
Who's scoring? They are not scoring points. They're averaging like 12 points a game. Well, who's scoring for them? Who's he giving the ball to?
Well, for the sake of my fantasy team, Darnell Mooney would be nice. But Bijan Robinson last week had 26 carries. It was a career high. Minnesota, though, is #1 against the run. It's going to be a little tough. Maybe he sneaks in for a 2-yard, 1-yard run somewhere around there. Maybe they get a defensive turnover, step up that way. I think Kirk finds a way. He puts the chains on in the locker room afterwards. He's singing as he's walking off the field, whatever it may be. we got to rally around Kirk
I like
Cousins
this
for the
upset
Nick
pick.
Falcons.
I think there is something. He's been all nice all week, all so Kirk, like, oh, I'm so grateful. Then Justin Jefferson said they haven't talked. There's this part of Kirk that's going to sort of unleash, I think, and playing in front of that crowd with that chant in that building. I like this upset special. The Falcons have scored just 12 points a game since week 10. That offense has got to come hopefully through Bijan. We have a huge one in LA. MVP frontrunner. He cannot be stopped. Josh Allen. The Bills taking on the Rams. Very curious. You just heard Calvin Johnson talk about Rams. Who cares about the Rams? The Bills. 3.5-point faves on the road where there will be Bills fans aplenty. Do they make it 8 straight wins?
Josh Allen's on a mission. The Bills are on a mission. This sets up for a letdown. However, with next week against the Lions, I don't see it happening. I think Buffalo goes on the road, cross-country trip after last week's blowout, and they find a way. They'll beat the LA Rams 27-20. They'll cover the spread. This one is my best bet. Okay, when Josh Allen doesn't turn the ball over, the Bills are 30-5. In December and January, last 22 regular season games, they're 20-2. They're on a mission to get that number 1 seed in the AFC. They're not going to let Matthew Stafford and the Rams slip them up. I'm with Megatron. I'm not paying much attention to the Rams right now because I'm all on the Buffalo Bills.
We'll see if those 2 FSU characters, Fisk and Verse, can get it done. We quickly have to get through this next one, and it is the game of the week. So spit it out. Chargers, Chiefs at Arrowhead. Chiefs 3.5-point faves.
Chargers are on the edge. They're on the verge of beating the Chiefs. The Chiefs have been very fortunate last week.
Yeah.
They should have lost to the Raiders last week. They could have lost several other games along the way. They're banged up, but I don't think this is the week, Kay. I think the Chiefs win, but the Chargers cover 23-22.
If Ladd McConkey was not limited again on Thursday, I would agree with you. He is that offense, so I wouldn't put it past them to get it done and rise to the occasion. With Derwin James and Travis, Noah Gray is probably going to have a big game. Those are just my thoughts. You have 1 minute to talk about Offensive Player of the Year. Let's take a look at the odds. I want to start here. It looks like a 2-man race. Can it get interesting?
It certainly can, Kay, and this could be that year where things flip. We've seen quarterbacks dominate in the MVP. 11 straight years quarterbacks have won, whereas Offensive Player of the Year, it's been running back or wide receiver 5 years in a row. But look at the season Joe Burrow's having. 30 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. He's not in the MVP conversation because the Bengals are a losing team, and we know that the MVP goes usually to a team that gets a bye over the last 11 years. I think for a season as incredible and impressive as Joe Burrow is having, if he finishes, 40-7, 40-6, somewhere around there, he could be in that mix if Saquon or Derrick Henry don't break the rushing record.
Okay, we love to see it. You can follow Rob's predictions on, obviously, I love a Burrow, so we even had, Sherman yesterday saying he's an MVP. He has MVP numbers, and he does, and a Batmobile, apparently. Pro Picks is where you can see Rob Maaddi's column every week on apnews.com. Thank you for joining me, and let's enjoy the ride here down the stretch.
Kay, you're the best. Thank you.
You're the best. See you at Super Bowl?
Yes,
You'll be there?
absolutely. See you there for sure.
Love that.
Yep.
Thank you so much, Rob Maaddi. We will be back on Monday. We have Gronk in studio. And who? Oh, Akeem, please. I'm going to have to get a full night's sleep on Sunday. Kat, please remind me of that. Gronk in studio on Monday.